Good morning, patrons. This morning we're going to do an exercise specifically for the invitation tier, but it could be used in all the tiers. Even advanced artists like Brent are doing the exercises, and Emmy, thank you so much for doing the exercises. And for all you in the invitation tier, like Leary and Jennifer and Barry, thank you so much for doing this work as well. Last month and the month before, we took the color exercise yellow and blue. Here we started with yellow above and blue below, and using just 3 colors, yellow, red, and blue, we created the landscape theme. And then last month we flipped that color composition right on its head, and we put blue above and yellow below. And we created a landscape theme again with mountains in both cases. Today we're going to do specifically plant, and I'm going to show you how to take this yellow, red, blue color composition and free it up a little bit to create a plant. Okay, so just a word about materials in case you're new to the invitation tier. You're probably going to want a clipboard, or if you don't have that, a sturdy book will do just fine. And I've got just regular old computer paper here. I'm going to be creating a border by folding the computer paper in half, just like this, and centering it on the paper. And then I'm just going to take the yellow and draw some lines around the paper. And this is the paper I'll actually do my drawing on. Over here I have some colors. We're only going to be needing yellow, blue, and red. But you can see that today I've got some additions. I may want to use those too. You don't have to. Okay, so let's get started with our first color. And we'll start as usual with yellow. And we're going to let yellow work freely upwards in the center or close to the middle of the color composition. And it's kind of narrow down here. I'm doing that on purpose. I may have some sort of offshoots here. And then I'm going to have yellow filling the lower portion. Yellow expands. But it can also contract. Interestingly enough, it can get contracting. Now what are we going to do up here? Let's take blue and let blue sweep in. Now we want yellow and blue to get close together, but we have to be very careful about that. In that I mean that where yellow and blue meet, it has to be very delicate, very light, But further away, especially towards the periphery, it can be quite deep. And there we have the beginning of our color composition, our free yellow-blue color composition. In the first video, we set up the color composition freely with yellow expanding upwards and surrounding below, and blue surrounding from above. And now let's go on. Let's take the yellow and deepen the yellow where it seems to be appearing in the spaces below. I'm looking for shapes as I do this. Here's a shape. And it looks like that to me. Everyone will see shapes differently. I also see yellow here. All these yellows working their way up. I'm going to add one there. And look at these. They come up and they tilt over. They come up and they tilt over. And they have sort of this patchy quality here. And then we see these around the outside. There's nothing to say that we can't have a little bit of glow right up in the blue. And we just bring the yellow into the background spaces in between. And then we have the entire composition filled with color. Good thing, because that just finishes our second video. All right, let's continue on with yellow. And I want you to notice that we have kind of an open space over here. So I'm going to just extend one of these darker yellow stems right into that space. And in this space, I'm going to actually draw the outlines in yellow. I don't often use outlines, but here you won't be able to see it if I don't. I'm going to draw the flower itself. This is the cup of the flower here, and then it has these leaves that stick out, 4 leaves. And of course it is the daffodil. And each one of these could actually be filled with yellow. And good. And in order to make it stand out just a little bit, I'm going to take the blue and lightly go around the outside of it so you can see the leaves. Might as well fill in blue around there too. The blue is going to come all the way out to the rim. And it's going to help us contour the form of these leaves so that we can actually see them in front as they surround the bell-shaped form, which is the cup of the daffodil. And we could use a little bit of red in there to begin to shade the cup. Okay, let's keep going on this beautiful little daffodil picture that's starting to appear out of yellow below and a spray of yellow and blue above, with the slight addition of red beginning to appear. So we always can come back and beef up our yellows here and there. I like to listen to the sound that this pencil makes as I color. Now you remember at the end of the last video, we brought in the addition of red. We started with just shading a little bit of red into our daffodil flower. And certainly each one of these could have some red added to them. But I'm also going to ask you to take the red and bring it right on down, believe it or not, into the ground or the bottom of the picture. And just let this move freely back there. I'm using the side of my colored pencil right now, and that makes a kind of smooth appearance of the color. Almost using it as if it were a paintbrush. Keep going with the red, hinting at little forms in the background. Look and see where your flowers are appearing. And then we're going to start making some green. Green is so important to the flowers. So of course we're going to use it in the stem and the flowers, the petals, and even in the background. Okay, now let's get some green going. Let's start by going right over our yellows. And we can bring some of the spaces together, although they're all going to emanate from the bottom here. Just let them flow upwards, each one. We've already created the upward gesture, so we're not even building anything new right now. I'm simply going over what I see, and I see a bunch of stems back there. Might even be a small one there. And immediately I'm going to allow my blue to spread out into the background to embed this new green into the background. Let blue come throughout, maybe even sharpen along the border. And that'll be the end of that. Okay, we're coming down the home stretch now, and we want to get our flowers really up to speed with the rest of this beautiful composition. I'm loving the way we have a ground here, and then we're having these more upright background gestures, and of course we have our central theme, the daffodil. Let's just get right into the daffodil here and make it a little more visible. First, we'll put yellow right on top of it, and here's that little center part. And then we're going to come back with red, and we're going to actually add those curves that are in the back of the center part, as well as the curves that will come forward into the front of the daffodil as it wraps around and becomes a sort of scalloped cup. And this cup is coming right down into the calyx of the plant. We're going to shade underneath there to make that a little standing out. And then each petal will get a touch of red too. All we're working with is red, yellow, and blue, so each one is going to have to get a little touch to show the movement of the petals. There are 4. So let's do another one. Let's do this one back here. Here's our bell, and we can see a couple of petals. There's 1, maybe 2, there might be another 3 here, and the 4th one would be behind so we can't see it. And we'll use the red to coax forward that bell. See that bell shape? Don't forget these have a little doohickey thing. I know there's better word for it. Somebody's going to correct me. And that's good. Let's do another one. How about this one? What's actually happening here? I don't even know. I see this part. It's all yellow. Oh, I think this should be a little bit green here. You might find yours and you're like, oh, here's something I need to do. So I have to add a little bit of green there. Oops, out of time. Okay, we're almost done. We have a couple more things to do on the flowers. So I was just filling in some yellow where my last flowers are going to be. And I don't really know what they're going to look like ahead of time. I have to find the shape, and that's why I use the red. I know that from the bottom of the stem, or actually the top of the stem where the stem meets the bottom of the flower, I know that there are these shapes that are like the petals. And then I know that there's this bell-shaped thing in the center of the flower with its scalloped edges and that little pollen puffball coming out. Same thing here. I don't really know what I'm seeing until I get there. You can keep coming back and perfecting the flower, the daffodil. There are many, many things that you can do to further accentuate the fact that they are daffodils. Don't forget to use a little bit of blue. And use it freely. Again, when you've been working in the details of such little tiny flowers, finish up with an out breath by just taking the flat of your colored pencil and letting it go in the background, relaxing. I'm not caring too much. Okay, I'm down to my last video, and I think it looks really great. I really like the way the background's going a different direction. I like the bits of white that are left, and these flowers look great. But now I need to work the rest of the picture so that it's up to speed with those flowers. I'm going to start with my blue, and I'm just going to come through and deepen or punch, we say, any of the blue colors in the flower stems and leaves. Anywhere I want, I can dot and dash through. Sometimes I may want to color a whole surface, but other times I'm just going to want to dot and dash through to create detail. Now let's go on. Look at these movements. I don't know what this is back here, but I like the fact that it kind of triangulates up. And you may find some of these in your background too. Don't be afraid to get really dark now as we reach the final 3 minutes. And that means use the pressure from the side of the surface of the colored pencil to create. And let's do the same thing with red. We're going to punch certain reds that are important to us. This is a very important flower right down here. This one's nice too. Let's give it a little more oomph. And we have some beautiful reds in the background, here and there. Why can't red come up here? And finally, let's do a little bit of yellow, just wherever we think yellow needs to be added. And we're done. I'm really excited for you to do my latest invitation guided drawing using just 3 colors and the 10 3-minute videos. You can achieve this rather detailed drawing, and you can see we got quite detailed right in the flowers, but there's plenty of room for color expression throughout this picture. And I hope that you will take off on your plants and post them on Patreon. Thanks.